The air did not just crackle that night, it trembled. It felt like the kind of thick, electric tension that rolls in before a catastrophic summer storm, the type that pretends to be harmless until the sky suddenly splits open. And right in the center of that storm sat a courtside moment that would ignite the most unexpected digital wildfire of the year. At first glance, everything looked glamorous. VIP seats. A flawless couple posing effortlessly for every camera pointed their way. GloRilla, the raw, unfiltered heartbeat of Memphis, sat confidently beside her man, Brandon Ingram, the New Orleans Pelicans' smooth, unbothered star who played with the grace of someone who had nothing to prove. Together, they radiated black excellence, young, powerful, magnetic. Or at least, that is what the world believed for one fragile second. Because beneath that glossy surface, a serpent had already started curling around the foundations of their moment. And that serpent had a name, Megan Thee Stallion. The Houston powerhouse. The original hot girl commander-in-chief. The woman who practically trademarked the modern rapper-athlete power couple dynamic. Social media users did not hesitate, comments poured in like gasoline. Did GloRilla just steal Meg's whole courtside aesthetic? Is someone trying to replace the OG hot girl blueprint? The internet did not whisper, it screamed. And deep in those disagreements and fan wars, one truth kept resurfacing: Megan reportedly felt robbed. She had strutted courtside with Klay Thompson long before these new pairings were trending. She had built this whole aesthetic from glitter and sweat and paparazzi flashbulbs. And now someone else was receiving applause for a stage she felt she had constructed with her own hands. But the drama did not end there, it evolved. It metastasized. It took the shape of a familiar figure stepping out of the shadows, E.J. King. Yes, that E.J. King. GloRilla's stylist. Formerly Megan's stylist. A man whose very name had become synonymous with industry tension, subtle shade, and explosive fallout. His departure from Megan's circle had never been peacefully explained. Instead, fans were left piecing together cryptic captions, broken friendships, and the haunting allegation that Megan reportedly owed him $80,000. $80,000. A number that did not just represent money, it represented betrayal, fractured loyalty, and a partnership that had clearly collapsed long before the world noticed. And once EJ appeared beside GloRilla, the narrative twisted itself into a scandalous knot. The internet practically caught fire. Fans dug through old posts. Stan accounts held investigative meetings like digital detectives. TikTok theories multiplied by the minute. Was this a coincidence? Or had GloRilla unintentionally stepped on the toes of someone who believed she invented the very lane GloRilla was now thriving in? Suddenly, what should have been a simple courtside date became a battleground of egos, rebrands, and silent grudges, the kind that simmer quietly until the right moment forces everything to explode in public view. But that $80,000, that was only the beginning. The real betrayal, the wound that never healed, came from something far more personal, far more humiliating, and far more public. Insiders whisper that the true fracture between Megan and EJ did not come from money, but from that moment he stepped into the courtroom during the Tory Lanez trial. EJ had been present that infamous night at Kylie Jenner's mansion. He had watched the drinks flow like broken faucets, he had felt the tension shift from playful to dangerous, and he had witnessed the emotional storm that would later erupt into allegations, headlines, and a national debate. So when he took the stand, everyone expected neutrality, but the words he released into the air sliced through Megan's reputation like a blade. His testimony, subtle, calculated, delivered with rehearsed calm, painted Megan in a way the world had never heard before. Aggressive when intoxicated. Volatile under pressure. A portrayal that felt like a stab in the back, especially from someone who had once styled her hair, zipped her dresses, and lived inside her inner circle. And when GloRilla, fresh off the high of her new album's success, swooped in and hired EJ, the entire industry exhaled sharply. It felt intentional. A move designed not just for aesthetics, but to twist a knife in an old wound. Social media exploded instantly. Timeline detectives broke out their digital magnifying glasses. Every post, every sideways emoji, every shared meme was suddenly evidence. Stylists began throwing subtle digital shade. Fans divided into camps, preparing for a war no one admitted had begun. Then came the bombshell, the alleged leaked tape. A whisper at first, traded in dark group chats and anonymous threads. A supposed video claiming to show GloRilla in a threesome with Yo Gotti and an unidentified man. A rumor so radioactive that even mentioning it felt dangerous. But the internet does not need confirmed facts to start a fire. Within hours, fan pages were dissecting frames that did not even exist, and Twitter was writing documentaries in real time. GloRilla's silence became its own headline. No denial. No outrage. Nothing but an eerie quiet that made the rumor feel more real than any proof ever could. Brandon Ingram, blindsided and reportedly shaken, began pulling back. Suddenly the man who once held her hand courtside with pride was asking himself difficult, ugly questions. Was everything he believed about her a fabrication? Had the romance he flaunted become a trap threatening his carefully polished reputation? That courtside picture-perfect moment, once a symbol of success, unity, and young black power, now felt cursed. The streets were talking non-stop. Comment sections became crime scenes. Was the tape real? Was Meghan capable of fueling such a destructive narrative? Or was the entire scandal a weapon forged by jealous rivals to knock GloRilla off her rapidly rising throne? These questions hung in the air like smoke, refusing to dissipate. Meanwhile, the storm crept closer. Yo Gotti's name surfaced again and again, not as a mentor, not as a label boss, but as a potential key character in a story that was spiraling out of control. The man was Memphis royalty, a self-built mogul whose mere presence carried weight. He had been there for GloRilla from the start, showering her with gifts, support, and opportunities that rappers dream of their entire lives. The Mama Mac truck. The glittering diamond watch. The backstage appearances where his hand lingered on her shoulder just a moment too long. Fans had speculated for months, connecting dots no one wanted to publicly acknowledge. Were they just close? Or was something boiling beneath the surface? For the longest time, these rumors were dismissed as bored fan fiction. But now, with whispers of a leaked tape swirling like a tornado, everything shifted into dangerous territory. Brandon Ingram, who had always kept his public image spotless, was allegedly unraveling. He could not reconcile his love for GloRilla with the chaos exploding around her. The rumors of a past entanglement with Yo Gotti. The possibility of a compromising video. The fear that his career and credibility could be dragged into the flames. It echoed Megan Thee Stallion's own painful history, a relationship imploding under the harsh spotlight, private wounds becoming public entertainment. Her ordeal with Tory Lanez had shown the world how quickly love could turn into devastation. Now fans wondered, was GloRilla about to face the same fate? The irony was impossible to ignore. Meghan, the woman allegedly fueled by jealousy and resentment, now held the potential to unleash a weapon that could obliterate GloRilla's career and personal life in one blow. The silence from Meghan's camp grew heavier, colder, more suspicious. No confirmation. No denial. Just the type of silence that invites chaos to speak in its place. Was Meghan truly ready to cross a line that could destroy another woman's life? Or was this an intimidation tactic, a psychological chess move to regain control of the narrative? The stakes were unbearable. GloRilla's reputation. Her relationship. Her entire career. All of it dangled above a cliff created by two feuding women locked in a cycle of revenge that had spiraled beyond music, beyond pride, beyond reason. The internet waited breathlessly, refreshing timelines like stock markets. The world watched as GloRilla's reality burned from beneath her feet. Even the Mama Mac truck, once a symbol of her triumph, now felt like a chain tightening around her neck, a glittering reminder that everything she had been gifted came with shadows she never intended to step into. The 18-karat Audemars Payday royal oak that glittered on GloRilla's wrist had once been a declaration of triumph, proof that the girl from Memphis had broken through every wall placed in front of her. But under the harsh light of the scandal, that same watch now looked like a gilded shackle. Fans began speculating that it was not a symbol of success, but a symbol of debt, a quiet reminder of a relationship she could never fully distance herself from. The lyrics she once crafted with pride, lyrics that celebrated her hustle, her raw honesty, her fearlessness, were suddenly being dissected line by line. Internet detectives combed through her catalog as if they were analyzing classified government documents. Every bar sounded like a confession. Every punchline felt like a breadcrumb leading back to Yo Gotti. The narrative shifted brutally. Comment sections turned into interrogation rooms. TikTok analysts slowed down her performances frame by frame searching for hints of secret entanglements. Reddit threads titled, "The Truth About GloRilla and Yo Gotti, Evidence Breakdown," spread like wildfire. And the picture they painted, fair or not, cast GloRilla as a woman trapped in a web of her own making, tightening more with every rumor. Brandon Ingram, meanwhile, spiraled quietly behind the scenes. Love makes people blind, but scandal makes people paranoid. He replayed their private moments like a tortured film reel. The late-night phone calls where her voice sounded strained. The rushed goodbyes between tour stops. The future they had spoken into existence with such bright hope. Now every memory felt contaminated by doubt. The image of GloRilla entangled with Yo Gotti, a visual he had never seen but could not stop imagining, haunted him like a ghost that refused to leave. He began questioning not just her loyalty, but his own judgment. How well did he really know the woman he was building a life with? Pressure mounted from all directions. Fans demanded answers as if they were entitled to her pain. Media outlets refreshed their pages by the hour, desperate for a statement, a slip-up, a meltdown, anything they could spin into breaking news. And GloRilla? She said nothing. She could not. Denying the rumors outright would only convince people she was lying. Admitting anything would be catastrophic. Her silence was strategic, but it was also suffocating. Megan Thee Stallion watched from the sidelines, holding a metaphorical nuclear device. The alleged tape, if it existed, could obliterate GloRilla's career, her relationship, and possibly the entire dynamic of female rap for years to come. But releasing it would not come without consequences. It would paint Megan as vindictive, malicious, and willing to destroy another woman to maintain her throne. The choice placed her in a moral chokehold, and the world waited, breath held, wondering if she would pull the trigger or walk away. Would Megan unleash the tape, confirming every rumor and leaving nothing to imagination? Or would she keep it locked away, silently enjoying the chaos without raising her hand? Fans debated endlessly. Industry insiders whispered. Everyone understood one brutal truth: whatever Megan chose next would shape the future of two of the most powerful women in hip-hop. Meanwhile, GloRilla slipped deeper into damage control mode. Her team barricaded her behind closed doors. Public appearances were cancelled. Interviews postponed. Her once omnipresent social media presence evaporated overnight. The girl who had dominated timelines with her infectious personality and unfiltered humor was suddenly a ghost haunting her own career. Silence replaced swagger. Fear replaced fire. The storm swelled. The alleged tape. The whispered threesome with Yo Gotti. Brandon Ingram's emotional distance. It all collided into a perfect storm designed to consume her whole. The question clawed at the edges of every discussion: could GloRilla survive this? Or was she destined to drown beneath a tide she never saw coming? Even the stylists, E.J. King and Keen, became foot soldiers in the war. Their social media pages transformed into battlegrounds. Subliminal shots fired like bullets disguised as captions. Keen threw the first grenade: "I could give not 1, 2, 3 Fs about anything you all have going on." Then came another blow: "Baby, let us be clear. There would be no you without me. Be humble, babes." The implication slammed through the internet. Keen believed he had created EJ's entire lane. EJ fired back with sarcasm sharp enough to cut steel. His posts dripped with disdain, coded language, and the kind of shade stylists have perfected over decades of silent rivalry. Their feud became its own subplot, a messy sideshow feeding the main fire. But behind all of this noise, something far more heartbreaking was unfolding. The world saw GloRilla as the bold, loud, fearless girl wrapped in designer armor. But inside? She was crumbling. Behind the lashes, behind the diamonds and the attitude, was a young woman waking up every day to see her name dragged through mud she did not recognize. People she trusted were slipping away quietly, like shadows retreating at sunrise. Photos were untagged. Old posts deleted. Silence swallowed up relationships she thought were unshakable. Hollywood loyalty is conditional, and GloRilla was learning that lesson in the harshest way possible. Her glam squad applied makeup with hands that trembled slightly, unsure if they were painting confidence or covering wounds. Friends avoided eye contact. Team members whispered in adjacent rooms. Even collaborators who once begged for features suddenly did not have availability. It was abandonment dressed in professionalism. EJ and Keen kept escalating, both desperate to control the narrative of her downfall. Fans formed digital armies. Celebrities chimed in with vague, sending love, posts that only intensified speculation. Gossip pages refreshed their feeds by the minute, waiting for the next piece of chaos. And GloRilla? She sat alone in a dim room, scrolling through a timeline that felt like a battlefield. She saw strangers making jokes out of her pain. She saw fake rumors spreading with terrifying speed. She saw people dissecting her heart as if it were public property. They were not talking about her anymore, they were performing autopsies on her reputation. Her soul ached. She felt bruised in places no one could see. And in that moment, beneath the loudest scandal of her career, GloRilla realized the most painful truth of all: the world loved her rise, but it was addicted to her fall. Brandon Ingram's silence became the loudest part of the scandal. Their relationship had always lived somewhere between passion and pressure, a mixture of chemistry and unspoken insecurities. But once the rumors erupted, distance grew like a wall neither of them could climb. GloRilla replayed their last argument again and again, each memory cutting deeper. The raised voices. The accusations he never should have made. The moment he walked away without looking back. She had truly believed their connection could withstand anything, but this felt different. This felt final. She would call him, hear the sudden coldness in his voice, and hang up before she broke completely. Trust, once cracked, does not return untouched. Meanwhile, Yo Gotti, a man who was rumored to be part of the alleged threesome, added gasoline to the fire with every ambiguous interview. He smirked for paparazzi and said, "People believe whatever they want to believe. It is not my job to fix that." His refusal to clear the air made everything worse. Some people claimed the scandal was a publicity stunt. Others insisted GloRilla had orchestrated the chaos to stay relevant. But anyone who saw the sadness behind her eyes knew the truth: no fame was worth this level of humiliation. Her team scrambled. Crisis meetings lasted late into the night. Should she return with an apology video? Should she cry on camera? Should she sit down with a journalist? Relaunch her brand? GloRilla shut down every idea. She did not want to perform grief for strangers who delighted in her suffering. She did not want to pretend to be strong when she was barely holding on. She wanted silence. She wanted to breathe without being watched. She wanted to reclaim the parts of herself fame had stolen. But the world outside her home did not care. Rumor pages posted new exclusives every hour. Old acquaintances suddenly resurfaced claiming to have receipts. Producers leaked unfinished songs to make a quick profit. Fashion deals paused. A major brand quietly replaced her with another influencer. People were making money from her downfall, and she felt powerless against the machine. Fame had always been a bargain, but she never imagined the cost would be her sanity. E.J. King's latest post detonated across social media like a bomb. A lot of people forget who helped them, who held them down. But God does not like ugly, and karma does not play favorites. He paired the caption with a photo dripping in symbolism, and fans instantly assumed it was aimed at both GloRilla and Keen. Screenshots spread at lightning speed. Comment sections filled with war cries. Reaction channels milked the drama dry. Keen fired back with even sharper words. Some people build their careers on lies and then cry when the truth shows up at their door. I never needed clout. Clout came looking for me. The battlefield was set. Neither stylist planned to surrender. Every subtweet, every filtered selfie, every cryptic emoji became a weapon. But behind the spectacle, a far more fragile truth unfolded. The world saw GloRilla as a fearless girl wrapped in diamonds and designer armor. But inside, she was falling apart. The glamorous image, flawless hair, bold clothes, fierce attitude, was only a shell. Inside that shell was a young woman drowning in fear, betrayal, and expectations far too heavy for one heart. She once built her persona from confidence, but even the loudest lion can tremble when the entire forest turns against it. Her team tried shielding her. Crisis drills. Drafted statements. Rehearsed answers. But every strategy felt like trying to bandage a wound that was still bleeding. Time was not on her side. The internet was a firestorm, and GloRilla had become the spark. Loyalty around her began to crumble. People whispered. Old friends untagged themselves from photos. Posts disappeared. In Hollywood, silence is not neutral, it is abandonment. Supporters who praised her yesterday suddenly acted like they had never met her. The shift stung more than the rumors. Her glam squad applied makeup with shaky hands, uncertain whether to comfort her or keep things professional. Even collaborators she had once lifted up suddenly did not have availability. Meanwhile, EJ and Keen escalated from petty shade to full-scale narrative warfare. Fans split into factions, Team EJ versus Team Keen. Entire mini-armies formed in comment sections. Influencers made 20-minute breakdowns. Even celebrities who had nothing to do with the situation chimed in with vague quotes or messy subtweets, adding unnecessary chaos to the inferno. And through it all, GloRilla sat in her room, scrolling through a timeline that no longer felt like home. She saw strangers